Hi everyone! Today I'm sharing another Story Kit Crush process video featuring the Friends story kit from Ali Edwards. This spread is going into my 6x8 story album, and I'm going to be using the elements of this kit to document some of the best friendships that I've had in recent years. I'm starting off with 4 photos that I've sized down to approximately 3 inches wide and 2 inches tall so that I can fit them all into a column right down this right side of the page. And I have 2 3x4 filler cards from this kit, as well as a journaling card where I've already attached the journaling that I've printed on my clear sticker paper. And I'm going to be creating a flip up with 2 of these cards later on in this video. For the left side of the spread, I have this 4x6 journaling card from the kit that says, "Friends are the sunshine of life." And I thought it would be really fun to cut this card into a semicircle so that it kind of looks like a sun peeking out from the bottom of the page, just because it talks about sunshine and this card is yellow. I also have this jelly print that I had made a few weeks ago, and you can't really see it very well in this video, but it does have some gold paint running through it, and I think it just really looks cool in real life. This is actually one of the prints that I created during my first ever jelly print session, and I created this print specifically for the purposes of using in the spread. And my plan is to cut down this jelly print into long triangle pieces to use as sun rays coming out from behind this sun. So here I finally have my semicircle cut out. I did have to trim about 7/8 of an inch off the bottom of the card as well. And now I'm just cutting that jelly print into long triangles. And I made sure to cut different lengths so that they all seem like they're radiating outwards towards the bottom center of the page. They do look a bit awkward when I first put them down onto the page, but once I've cut up the top edge of each ray so that they're all angled towards the middle of the page looks a bit more symmetrical after that. And now I'm just sticking them down onto the page with some Tombow Mono permanent adhesive tape runner, and I did make sure to leave some space in between each of those rays because I am planning on doing some stitching in between each ray afterwards. I think if I had a sewing machine, it would have looked really cool if I had maybe folded each of those rays down in half lengthwise and then stitched down the middle of each ray to give it kind of a bit more dimension. But I'm pretty happy with how this turned out the way that I made it as well. To do my stitching, I'm just using my Tim Holtz design ruler and an awl to poke some holes every half an inch down the middle in between each of these rays, and I'm just going to go off screen to do my stitching after that. I like using this Tim Holtz design ruler because it does give some markings to indicate like every 1/8 of an inch as well as every 1/4 of an inch, and so it's just really easy to space out your stitching marks using this ruler. I'm using some embroidery floss from DMC. This is the color 712, which is kind of like a light beige color. I thought white would give maybe a bit too much contrast with the warm tones of my jelly print, so that's why I picked this warm beige color. And this is a 6-strand embroidery floss, so I just separated the strands into groups of 3 so that I could stitch with just 3 strands at a time. And looking at the spread now, I think I could have gotten away with 2 strands instead to give it a bit more of a delicate look. Once the stitching was done, I wanted to add some sequins along each of the stitched lines to add a bit more sparkle and texture to the page. So I have some sequin mixes here from Rachel Tallman's shop. She's a fellow Canadian crafter and she sells her handmade sequin mixes online, and it's always so nice to be able to support another local crafter, and the shipping was great. Like, it wasn't too expensive and it came in record time because I do live in Canada as well. So I'll leave a link to her shop in the description box below. I have here one of her sequin mix boxes, I think. This one's like a sampling of 10 of her best-selling sequin mixes, and the yellow and orange colored one that's packaged just by itself is called Nemo. A lot of her mixes are inspired by Disney characters, which, being a big Disney fan myself, I'm always very appreciative of. So I was trying to decide between the Nemo sequin mix and the Bambi sequin mix, which is the pink and gold one in the sequin mix box. But they added too much, like the Nemo one added too much orange and the Bambi one added too much pink to my page. And because I'm going to be doing some stamping on the right side of the page, I wanted the colors on the left side to be just a bit more subtle, so I decided to go with this white and gold mix from the sequin mix pack. I believe this one's called Marigold, and I like the more subtle colors in this one. So just arranging the sequins onto my stitched lines, I did realize at this point that I could have stitched them down as well, but it was kind of a bit too late for that, so that's fine with me. I made sure to do a balance of the white sequins and the gold sequins in each of the stitched lines, and I always prefer to do like an odd amount of sequins whenever I'm putting them down on the page, so I made sure to use an odd number of sequins in each line, like odd versus even. And I also made sure to place a couple of sequins so that they would be peeking out behind the sun pocket card that I've cut out there, just to make it seem like the pattern does continue behind this sun. Just using my Gina K Connect glue to adhere these sequins down. I like using this glue to adhere small non-paper items like this because it does dry matte and it dries clear as well. So if some of it does seep out from underneath the sequins, it's not too noticeable once it dries. The little wand here that I'm using to move the sequins around is called the Marvy Jewel Picker. And I like using this because it has a slightly tacky end, so you can pick up the unattached sequins just with the tackiness of these tips, but once you have glue actually on your page, the tips aren't so tacky that the sequins won't come off your tool, so it's really easy to get the sequins off the page, the glue onto the page, and then the sequins attached onto the page. I have these acetate words that I need to use up from this kit as well. One of these says friend and one of these says best. So I decided I wanted to put them into one of these rays, and I went with this one on the right side of the page first, but I am going to move it later on onto the left side of the page. Once that's done, I'm just adhering down my sun semicircle onto the base page using some adhesive foam squares to give it just a bit more dimension. And I realized that this one ray on the right side isn't quite long enough and leaves a bit of an awkward space in the top right corner. So I'm just filling up that space with this banner sticker from the Friends kit. And I like how the yellow fits in with this page as well. Moving on to the right page in my spread, I really liked the wonkiness of the sun rays on the left page, so I decided to trim down my photos a bit more so that I could layer them slightly and make them into this wonky column where some of them are overlapping each other and they're all at different angles. And I did decide to add a couple more of those chipboard pieces from this kit. The tiny yellow circle that I've put in the middle of my photo strip says you plus me, and the small rectangular piece that I've put on top of that top journaling card says fave friend. After that, I'm just building the flip up portion of this bottom journaling card. So I cut a piece of white cardstock to the same width of these journaling cards. They're a bit narrower than 3 inches wide. And I'm cutting this to 4.5 inches tall so that once I score at 1/2 inch, that leaves me with a card that's about 3 by 4 and that has a 1/2 inch hinge on the top. Before I adhere this down, I'm just using this alphabet stamp set from Ali Edwards, as well as some Altenew dye inks. These colors are Heartbeat, Rouge, Honey Drizzle, and Arctic Mountain, and I'm just stamping the names of my 4 best friends in these 4 photos. I pulled out this navy blue heart transparency from the Ali Edwards Hearts scrapbooking kit, and I really like how this pulls in a bit more of the blue that I have in my stamping, as well as in the journaling card that's going to go beneath this flip out. I really wanted to use up this one circle chipboard piece with the pink dots in it. I've tried using this on my past couple of spreads, and I just didn't really know where to put it because it's just the one dot, and I didn't really have anything to cluster it with. So I tried layering it on this heart, and I figured I might as well just try cutting it into a heart shape to go better with this heart, and it actually worked out pretty well, so I'm really glad I did that. Otherwise, I feel like I just would have never used, like I'm just never going to use this dot otherwise. You might have noticed that I had put some 3/8 inch score tape along the 1/2 inch hinge on the top of my stamped journaling card, and here I'm just assembling that flip up card by adhering that hinge down onto my base page and then attaching the rest of my cards into place. So that finishes up my spread. If you liked this video, then make sure to give it a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe for more process videos. I will be doing one more Story Kit Crush video with the Friends Story Kit, and then after that I'll do kind of like a wrap-up video where I'll go through all of the different pages that I made using the Friends Story Kit, and I'll go over any of the components that I might have left over from this kit as well. So that should be coming up in the next couple of weeks. Thanks so much for watching!